Hi, I'm Kate from dailytarotworld.com, and in this video I want to talk about sister cards. So a tarot deck has 78 cards, and if you look through your deck or if you're doing a reading, you may notice that there's some cards that are similar to each other. So they're different, they look different, they have a different meaning, but they're very similar. There's a similar theme. So I'm going to give you some examples of what I mean by this. Okay, so I feel like the Sun, which is a very happy, cheery, sunshiny card, and the Ten of Cups are sister cards. Now, they both have slightly different meanings, but essentially they're both very happy, positive cards. The Ten of Cups has more of a domestic feel, like, domestic bliss and, dreams coming true. And then the Sun is kind of more generally happy in its meaning, but they're both very, very similar cards with a similar message. A couple other similar cards are the Hermit, which is all about quiet, solitude, going within, and the Four of Swords, which is, very similar to the Hermit. It's all about quieting the mind, going within, finding stillness and rest and rejuvenation. So two more cards I want to show you, which might surprise you that I consider these to be sister cards, is the Fool and Death. So, I should mention that I'm using the Dame Darcy Mermaid Tarot for all the cards in this video. So the Fool and Death might look like they're opposite cards and they're so different, but if you think about it, both of them are about new beginnings and starting fresh. Death is usually kind of what happens before the Fool, so Death is about kind of, releasing the old so you can make room for the new. And the Fool is about kind of stepping out on that new journey. But they both have that similar theme, that similar thread of new beginnings and fresh starts. Okay, so that's just kind of, an example of sister cards. So when sister cards show up in a tarot reading, what do they mean? So if you're doing a reading and you have 2 or maybe 3 cards that are all kind of similar, it means that your tarot cards have gone from speaking to you and giving you a message to shouting at you and maniacally screaming a message at you. So whenever there's 2 cards that are similar, it's kind of like that message that those cards bring is underscored, it's highlighted, and that's a clear indication that you should focus in on that particular message. So let's take a look at an actual reading that I did, and let's look at how the sister cards act in a reading. Okay, so here is a reading that I did. It's using the Dame Darcy Mermaid Tarot, and it's a 6-card reading. And just look at these 6 cards and see if you can spot any sister cards in this reading. So are there any pairings that kind of jump out at you when you look at these cards? So when I look at these cards, the first 2 sister cards that I notice are the Six of Swords and the Chariot. Both of those cards, when you look at them, the symbolism is very similar. Both figures are in a boat going somewhere. They're going in different directions, but still very similar. And the message of the Six of Swords and the Chariot are very similar. So both of them are about moving onward. Six of Swords is about moving from, one place to another place. And the Chariot is about moving to a better place. Very, very similar message there. And let's look at the Eight of Cups, because the Eight of Cups kind of has a similar message as well. The Eight of Cups is about moving on. So it's about leaving something behind, maybe abandoning something, and moving on to search for deeper meaning. So in a way, it's kind of a sister card to both the Six of Swords and the Chariot in that, again, there's that theme of kind of moving on to another place, another phase of your life. And there's another pairing that may not be as obvious. So if you look at the Tower and then the Eight of Cups, both are kind of similar because the Tower is about kind of being forced to face change and being forced to let go of something that, you know, you may have held dear, or something that you thought was really stable and was always going to be a part of your life, and you're kind of forced to deal with the absence of that, or the destruction of that. And the Eight of Cups is similar in that it's about letting go of something that you've maybe worked hard to achieve or to build up. So the Eight of Cups is more about kind of making the choice to walk away from something, whereas the Tower is more about kind of being forced to walk away from something, or to let go of something. But they both have that similar theme. So really there's kind of 4 cards that seem to be kind of saying a similar thing here. And what that means is that if you're doing a reading and you find 2 or more cards that have kind of a similar theme, you know that that message is being underscored. So that message is kind of even stronger and even louder than if it was just 1 card. So of course the Moon and the Queen of Cups are also important. And if you're doing this reading, you're also going to incorporate those cards, but you're really going to focus more time and energy and attention on the message that the other 4 cards are giving you. Another really cool thing that you can do with this whole sister card concept is you can use it to study your tarot cards. So when you look through your tarot cards and you pick out the sister cards, you can compare and contrast the 2 sister cards and get a deeper understanding of the tarot card meanings. So I'm going to give you an example of how I did this. So let's look at this pairing that we already looked at, the Hermit and the Four of Swords. Okay, so as I already mentioned before, they have kind of a similar meaning, a similar theme, but they're of course very different. So I kind of think of the Hermit as being kind of the more serious spiritual side of going within and quieting the mind. And this card reminds me of, maybe going to a meditation retreat, a yoga retreat, taking like a solo vacation, or going for a long walk by yourself, or joining a nunnery or something like that. Whereas the Four of Swords is more about rest and rejuvenation through solitude and quiet and going within. So this card reminds me more of like calling in sick to work, so that you can just kind of hang out by yourself and read in your hammock, or watch movies or something like that. It's kind of more like guilty pleasure stuff. So just comparing and contrasting these 2 cards really kind of makes you appreciate the subtle nuances of the cards and the different kind of energy and vibe of each card. So it gives you a better understanding of each card and what each card represents. So I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you to go through your tarot deck and see how many sister cards you can find. So how many pairings can you find? And keep in mind that some cards will have more than 1 pairing, like, in fact, most cards probably do. Like the Death card, for example, I would say it's kind of a sister to the Tower, it's a sister to the Fool, maybe even the Ten of Swords. So keeping that in mind, that most cards will have more than 1 sister card. And just go through your deck, see how many pairings you can find, and share the very first pairing of sister cards that pop into your head in the comments below this video. So thank you so much for watching, and you can find more fun exercises like this, more video tutorials on my website, dailytarotgirl.com.